Welcome to this explainer. Today, we are diving deep into a highly controversial piece of media called Zion's Unleavened Bread. Now, right off the bat, I want to be super clear. We are absolutely not here to validate these claims. Instead, we're going to look under the hood at the actual mechanics of how this creator builds such a specific and frankly dangerous worldview. We'll map out the historical narratives, the timeline, and the supposed evidence they use just to understand exactly how modern propaganda can weaponize ancient myths to manipulate an audience. To really understand what this creator is trying to do, we have to start with their core premise. And it's a disturbing one. The title itself, Zion's Unleavened Bread, refers to an alleged occult practice of, well, mixing human blood with Passover matzah. Now, the crucial thing to grasp here is that the source doesn't present this as some old folklore or a scary story. They present it as literal, historical fact. By anchoring their entire presentation in this totally shocking allegation right from the get-go, the creator basically guarantees a massive emotional reaction from the viewer. And that intense emotion, that is absolutely crucial for making people receptive to the rest of their argument.
So here's our roadmap for this analysis. First, we'll look at that core premise. Then we'll examine their first case study, the 1840 Damascus affair. Third, we'll zoom out to look at the broader historical allegations they make. Fourth, we'll dig into their second case study from 1890. And finally, we will break down the source's ultimate conclusion.
All right, let's jump right into part one, the core premise, dealing with ancient rituals and modern claims. According to the source's narrative, ancient Baal worshippers didn't just disappear, they've secretly preserved these dark rituals right into the modern day, with things supposedly peaking during the spring. But watch the rhetorical sleight of hand here. To try and back up these wild ancient occult claims, the presentation abruptly pivots to modern geopolitics. They actually cherry-pick quotes from a UN official, Dr. Mazen Sharif, talking about highly unusual burials in Gaza, specifically bodies found tied up or in strange triangular formations. What they are doing is attempting to legitimize a mystical conspiracy by attaching it to very real, very modern tragedies. It is a classic manipulation tactic, right? You ground the unbelievable in something verifiable to completely bypass the viewer's critical thinking.
Moving on to part two, we hit their first major historical anchor, Case Study 1, the 1840 Damascus affair.
To validate their modern claims, the source winds the clock back. And listen to how they construct this timeline. It sounds exactly like a true crime story. Picture this. It's February 15th, 1840. Father Thomas, who is an Italian Capuchin monk known for his medical skills, gets called into the Jewish quarter to treat a child. But before sunset, he completely vanishes. His servant, Ibrahim Amara, goes looking for him, and he disappears too. Over the next few days, police trace their steps to a local barber shop. By throwing out these exact dates, times, and locations, the narrative builds this incredibly powerful illusion of indisputable historical fact.
The source then gets even more granular, listing specific historical figures and giving them exact, horrifying roles in this alleged crime. They accuse David Harari and his brothers of luring and restraining the victim. A guy named Solomon the barber allegedly dismembered the remains. The chief rabbi, Yaqub al-Antabi, is accused of receiving the blood, and a man named Musa Abulafia, who converted to Islam, supposedly confirmed the ritual based on religious texts. Why do they give us all these specific names and roles? Because a highly procedural, detailed account just feels more authentic. When you hear exact names, it becomes so much harder to just brush the claim off as a vague myth.
And here is where the narrative introduces a brilliant, though incredibly manipulative plot twist: the political cover-up. The source claims that after the French consul actually secured death sentences, a powerful European delegation swooped in, using bribes and massive political leverage to force a pardon from Muhammad Ali, allowing the accused to just walk free. Think about why the creator does this. By claiming there was a massive, high-level cover-up, they give themselves the ultimate out. If you ask, hey, why isn't there any tangible historical evidence for these rituals? They can just say, well, that's because the global elite covered it all up.
That brings us to part three, the broader historical allegations regarding rituals and sun worship.
Now we see a truly massive leap in logic. The source tries to draw a direct, straight line between this alleged modern ritual of mixing blood with Passover bread and ancient pagan holy feasts, where human flesh was supposedly used to absorb the power of the sun god. They are basically arguing that these aren't just isolated myths, but one continuous, uninterrupted occult tradition spanning thousands of years. By linking the two together, the creator is trying to give this massive, ancient weight to a modern-day conspiracy theory.
And they don't stop there. The creator expands the blast radius of this conspiracy to include Christianity itself. They literally argue that the Christian Eucharist, the symbolic bread and wine, is essentially just a bloodless knockoff of those exact same ancient sun-worshipping blood rituals. By dragging multiple major world religions into this grand narrative, the source is actively trying to alienate the viewer from mainstream institutions. It's a very deliberate psychological push. They want you out on the fringe, living in this alternative version of reality where absolutely nothing is what it seems.
Let's move to part 4, their second big case study, the 1890 case.
The explainer jumps forward 50 years to 1890 to present another incredibly disturbing story. According to their narrative, a 6-year-old boy named Henry Abdel-Noor is lured away by a shop owner named Mayer and a singer named Regina. 2 days later, the child's body is found drained of blood in a well. Now, using violence against a child as your inciting incident, that is pure, calculated shock value. It's a tactic designed to completely short-circuit your logical defenses and just trigger pure outrage. They are emotionally priming you for their next big claim.
And look at how they back it up. They lean heavily on this alleged medical report, claiming that more than 14 Christian and Muslim doctors all agreed the child's blood was intentionally drained. This is a textbook appeal to authority, right? By specifically pointing out that these medical professionals came from different religious backgrounds, the narrative is trying to build this unassailable objective consensus. They want the viewer thinking, well, 14 rival doctors agreed on this? There's no way it's a myth. It is a really calculated move to wrap a conspiracy theory in the shiny veneer of scientific validation.
To keep you locked in, the source really hammers home these bizarre, hyper-specific details. The well being deliberately covered with heavy wood and stones, the child's shoes and pants supposedly put on backward after death. These eerie details are meant to make it feel like a deliberate occult crime rather than just a tragic accident. And of course, in any good conspiracy, dissenting voices have to be silenced. The one guy, Dr. Marcos Sinani, who looked at the body and said, "Hey, these look like rat bites," is immediately dismissed by the narrative as either a total fool or an active participant in the cover-up.
And surprise, surprise, just like the 1840 case, this 1890 story ends with, you guessed it, another political cover-up. The source claims that the Ottoman Empire just dismissed the local official, replaced him, and completely swept the case under the rug. This creates a really powerful repeating motif. It tells the viewer that no matter what era we're in, no matter which empire is in charge, there are always powerful entities systematically protecting these secret societies from facing any real justice. Finally, we arrive at part 5, the source's final conclusion.
So what is the point of all this? The source takes this deep dive into the past and spins it into a highly charged warning for today. They assert that these historical blood libel narratives aren't myths at all, but actual, hard evidence of a hidden, decaying enemy that controls global power through sex and money. Make no mistake, this entire presentation is not meant to be a history lesson. It is an urgent alarm bell. The creator is literally weaponizing history to convince the audience that they are under an active, existential threat right this very second.
As we wrap up this explainer, we really have to take a step back and ask ourselves, how are these deeply dangerous historical tropes being repackaged and repurposed in today's digital media to construct modern political narratives? By mapping out exactly how this source weaves ancient mythology together with cherry-picked history and modern anxieties, we get a clear look at the blueprint of modern propaganda. It really leaves you wondering, the next time a viral post pops up presenting a hidden history full of shocking details and elite cover-ups, are we actually being educated? Or are we just being manipulated?